Welcome, listeners, to the Shadow Frequency, the podcast where the strange meets the unknown, and the shadows whisper truths we're not always ready to hear. Join your host, Matt Wilson, tonight and step into a mystery that bends time itself. Imagine a man claiming to be a soldier from 2036, dropping into the year 2000 with warnings of civil war, nuclear fallout, and a future we might still avoid, or might not. His name is John Titor, and his story is equal parts sci-fi thriller and chilling prophecy. Was he a time traveler, a hoaxer, or something even stranger? Grab your headphones, dim the lights, and let's tune into the frequency of the impossible. You won't want to miss this.
Welcome, listeners, to the Shadow Frequency, the podcast where we tune into the strange, the unexplained, and the downright chilling. I'm your host, Matt Wilson, and tonight we're diving into a story that blurs the line between science fiction and reality. It's a tale of time travel, cryptic warnings, and a man who claimed to come from a future we're all barreling toward. His name? John Titor. Grab your headphones, turn down the lights, and let's step into the shadows together. Picture this. It's November 2nd, the year 2000. The internet is still young. Think dial-up modems and clunky message boards. Out of nowhere, a user named TimeTravel_0 appears on a forum dedicated to time travel enthusiasts. He doesn't just speculate about theories, he claims he's lived it. He says his name is John Titor, a soldier from the year 2036, sent back in time to retrieve a piece of vintage tech, an IBM 5100 computer. Why? To debug a problem in his dystopian future. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sounds like a sci-fi movie pitch, right? But here's the kicker. Titor just didn't drop a wild claim and vanish. Over the next 4 months, he posted detailed messages, answered questions, and even shared supposed photos of his time machine. He wasn't some troll looking for laughs. He was methodical, consistent, and eerily convincing. Let's set the stage. Titor said he was born in 1998, making him a toddler in 2000 when he started posting. But in his timeline, he had lived through a fractured, war-torn America, a future shaped by civil unrest and nuclear conflict. His mission wasn't just about the IBM 5100. It was a detour. His real stop was 1975, but he swung by 2000 to visit family and apparently warn us about what's coming. So how does a guy from 2036 hop back to 2000? According to Titor, he used a device called the C204 Gravitational Distortion Unit, installed in a 1967 Chevy Corvette, later swapped for a four-wheel drive truck for practical reasons. This wasn't your Back to the Future DeLorean with a flux capacitor. Titor described it as a stationary mass temporal displacement unit, powered by two microsingularities, mini black holes, basically. He even posted grainy photos of the device, complete with a manual and diagram showing gravitational fields and bending light. Skeptics say it's nonsense, black holes in a truck? Come on. But believers point out the physics he described aligns with theories about wormholes and general relativity. He talked about worldlines, parallel timelines diverging slightly from each other, meaning his 2036 might not be our 2036. It's a clever dodge, sure, but it also makes you wonder. Then there were his predictions. Titor warned of a second American Civil War breaking out in 2004, sparked by election disputes and escalating into chaos by 2008. He said it would tear the country apart, urban versus rural, coast versus heartland. By 2015, he claimed Russia would launch a nuclear strike, wiping out major U.S. cities and leaving survivors to rebuild in a fragmented world. Sound familiar? Well, sort of. The dates didn't quite line up. 2004 wasn't exactly a civil war, but the tension, the division, you can't help but feel a chill thinking about it. Let's talk evidence. Titor just didn't ramble, he got specific. That IBM 5100 he was after, he claimed it had a secret feature, a hidden programming language that IBM didn't advertise. critical for fixing future tech. Guess what? Years later, an IBM engineer confirmed the 5100 did have undocumented capabilities. Coincidence? Maybe. Then there's the photos, a blurry shot of his time machine glowing in a red truck bed. Another of a laser pointer beam bending, allegedly due to the machine's gravitational field. To a layperson, it's intriguing. To a physicist, it's dubious, and yet no one's fully debunked it. But here's where the skeptics pounce. The Civil War didn't happen, at least not like he said. The nukes didn't drop in 2015. Some argue his predictions were metaphorical. Social media wars, political polarization, but others call it a hoax by a clever nerd with too much time on his hands. In March 2001, Titor posted his final message, time to go back to 2036. And poof, he was gone. No trace, no follow-up, just silence. So who or what was John Titor? A time traveler, a prankster, a prophet who got the dates wrong? The mystery deepened in the years after he vanished. In 2003, a book called John Titor, A Time Traveler's Tale popped up, compiled by a lawyer named Larry Haber, who claimed to represent Titor's family. Haber said Titor's mom lived in Florida and had hired him to protect her privacy. Critics screamed, cash grab, but it kept the legend alive. Then there's the conspiracy angle. Some say Titor was a government plant testing how we'd react to time travel claims. Others think he was a whistleblower dropping hints about tech we're not supposed to know about. And a few diehards insist he's still out there watching us from another world line, waiting to see if we heed his warnings. Here's my take. Whether he was real or not, Titor tapped into something primal. Time travel's the ultimate what if. Could a guy from 2036 really walk among us? Could we be the ones sending someone back someday? It's spooky, it's thrilling, and it sticks with you long after the screen goes dark. That's all for tonight's dive into the shadows, folks. John Titor left us with more questions than answers, and maybe that's the point. What do you think? Time traveler, hoaxer, or something in between? Hey, hit me up in the comments. Next time, we'll peel back the veil on another interesting topic that'll make you question what's real and what isn't. Until then, keep your eyes on the horizon and your ears tuned to the shadow frequency. This is Matt Wilson signing off. Stay curious and stay spooky.